welcome back. So today we're going to start off with this mold that I got from Amazon, and I've just been really wanting to do a notebook for myself and kind of keep like just different types of ideas or just journaling and stuff like that. And so I thought, I'll do something for myself, and I will kind of make it as far as a little more personal with glitter and that kind of thing instead of just buying something. And that way I can kind of personalize the look of it and then also the inside of it as well. So here I am measuring out way too little of epoxy. I have no idea why I was thinking that like 20 or 30 or whatever I mixed, it was like tiny bit of epoxy was going to be enough, but I ended up having to double this, and I probably should have like tripled it. So if you are going to do one of these, I would definitely for sure say that I would fill up both of those medicine cups full of epoxy and mix that up in this, because I definitely think that it could have been a lot thicker, but it was because it was for me. I figured no big deal. I wasn't going to make it much thicker. I wasn't going to try to make it thicker than it became, but I definitely would tell you to mix up about 60 milliliters for this for sure. And this is like the A5 size, so it's like 6x7 or something, I don't know, something like that. I'll have all of that listed down below as far as all the stuff, all of the papers and the little things that I got for the inside that I was like, okay, this is kind of what I have in mind for the way my mind works and that kind of thing. So I took this box that I got from Create by Firefly. And so this is Mindy Jo or something like that. But it was in the box from last month. And we got Mindy Jo. And so we got all of these decals, and they're all kind of, and that's the cool thing about the Create by Firefly box, is because it has like all of these, everything kind of matches and kind of goes with everything. So I thought it would be kind of cool to add that Mindy Jo in at the bottom there and kind of pour in this the glass slipper from Chase Ray and use that note to self. You can do this because it really spoke to me when I opened that box and I saw that one that said note to self. You can do this. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. My journal. I'm going to do my notebook. And because that is exactly what I needed to hear at that moment. So, and I love the colors, purple, and it just really spoke to me. So this was like exactly what I wanted to do with this decal. Everything kind of came together in that moment. As you can see right here, I do not have anywhere near enough epoxy. So, I went ahead and mixed up, I think like 30 this time, but I would, like I said in the beginning, I would just fill both of those medicine cups to the top and just mix them in a cup, and then I think you will have plenty, if not just exactly enough for this particular, project. So this particular epoxy, you can see here, I'm lifting it up and kind of making sure that it matches in the, on the leveling, just because it's a 1-to-1 ratio. But this is from Resin Rockers, and I got it, and now it said it was casting resin or something like that, and it said something that you could use it for tumblers or whatever. Do not use this for tumblers. It is not meant for tumblers. I used it on 2 tumblers and they were completely ruined. Had to start all over from scratch, and so no, don't do it. And then a couple of ones that I was able to actually sand down, and I was able to actually save them, but 2 of them I was like, there's no coming back from this. So anyways, this is definitely casting resin, right? So this is going to be something perfect for something flat, a checkerboard, a notebook, keychains, something that doesn't need to be spun or anything like that. Because it was perfectly fine for doing this notebook, but when I tried it on tumblers, no, it was a no-go. So as you can see, I still did not have barely enough to get this on there. So anyways, I did kind of make sure that it was pushed around the little holes, you know, for the notebook as far as the rings or whatever. And I was kind of happy that it didn't go over too high, so I didn't have to mess with opening up those holes or whatever. It just kind of fell off down the sides of those holes, and so the holes were pretty clean when I got done, but I was scraping the bottom of that cup and trying to get as much epoxy and glitter as I could out of this thing. But I already said it, make sure you have enough epoxy, and for sure, definitely do not do less, because you don't want to have to mix more in the middle of doing this. I did make sure, because when I poured the glitter and the epoxy down onto that sprinkled glitter there, it did kind of push the glitter in certain spots. So I just kind of took my my little popsicle stick and just kind of moved things around a little bit and got it kind of pushed back to where it was a little bit more random, then kind of bunched up. And I did pick it up and kind of dropped it a couple times to pop the bubbles, and then I did spray it with alcohol. So I love the colors on this. I love the subtleness of that glitter at the bottom there, that it's not real bright with the gold, with the purple and the green and all that. It just kind of gives it a hint of that, just kind of a fade almost to the top there. And then this is called Glass Slipper from Chase Ray, and it is the larger cut of Grace, which I did just a while back and thought it was the prettiest glitter in the world. And I was like, that's duh, this is the same thing. I totally didn't even realize that this was the larger cut of that. So if you have Grace, if you got the two Grace, or Grace Extra Large and Grace the fine one or whatever, this Glass Slipper is the big one of that. So you would have something to, you know, fill in if you were to use this on a cup or whatever. So, but anyways, I did, as you can see, I took my my X-Acto knife there, and I kind of trimmed off the sides. I just had a little bit of flashing. It wasn't too much. I just kind of slowly kind of sliced it off there a little bit, and then I did a little bit of sanding just to kind of make it smooth. I didn't have to do much, but I did want to make sure that it didn't have anything that too sharp or anything where I was going to cut myself. So I did do a little bit of that. Now this is printed on white backing or whatever, and so it was, you can just put this on a transfer tape and just plop it right on there. So all I did was just take a piece of transfer tape, and I did make sure that I cleaned it off with some alcohol just to make sure that I didn't get anything underneath it. And then I put that on there. I kind of had to cut this because my head was like getting right in the way. But anyways, I did that right at in that top part there, just kind of over that glitter that kind of matches the colors in there. And I really love it. I love the saying, and I love the whole idea. It really kind of came together as far as what I was looking for. So here I go doing the back side. Now, I will say that make sure that you put this on the opposite side, right? So flip it over and do because I was like, oh no, I need to do it this way because the holes are on this side in the front, right? Well, if you wanted the glitter to come from the top to the bottom, or the bottom to the top, like we did on the front side, you want to make sure that you are flipping this on the other side so that you're not, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's not upside down when you put it together, because that's what happened to me. And I thought I was doing right, but I was not thinking of it in the opposite way. So make sure you do that if you are concerned about that. If not, or if you're just doing a plain whatever kind of glitter and nothing like I was doing, then it doesn't really matter. But just something to be aware of. I did once more, didn't really quite put enough, and that's why I'm telling you now to make sure that you fill those cups up all the way, because I did do 60, I did do 30 and 30, but it still was like just barely enough for the, for that whole thing there. So I would probably say just to fill it up, but that would give you about 70 or so, and I think that would be good enough, unless you were doing, if you had 2 or so of these. They do come, this mold that I got does come with smaller ones, so if you did pour a little, too much, maybe you could do one of the smaller notebooks, if, or pour it into some earrings or something. But like I said, I definitely would say that more is better in this situation. So once again, I took Mindy Jo and put it all over the bottom there. And like I said, this was going in the same direction as the top one, but the holes needed to be on the other side. So just be aware when you are creating that these are things that happen to us. And that's why I like doing these videos, because I like to be able to tell you that you're like, oh, that's something that I got to think about. And I wasn't thinking about that. I did not think about it. I did have it turned the other way. And then I turned it back. I was like, oh, no, it's got to be this way. But, whatever. I think my brain was telling me, like, no, Dodo, it needs to go this way. Anyways, as you can see, it's still not enough epoxy. And so, yeah. But I did end up making this work. I did not mix any more epoxy. I just went ahead and made this work. But it was very thin. It was a lot thinner than I probably would have wanted it to be if I was giving this away or selling it or whatever. So just be aware of the amount of epoxy that you would possibly need for this particular project. So here's the fun part of putting it all together. Now, I was not expecting it to come in this plastic already binder type situation. But it was what I ordered. It was what I wanted as far as, I didn't want anything that was pre-printed as far as dates and times and anything like that. And I did want the dividers, and I did want some envelopes, if I wanted to put like a piece of paper, picture or something in there. And so it was kind of like I narrowed it down as far as how many, there was a lot to choose from, in other words, of the A5 size. And so I kind of went through, and it was like, okay, this is pretty much where it kind of hits all of my marks that I wanted. I mean, it wasn't exactly perfectly what I wanted, but it was essentially, what I wanted. So when you are making this for yourself, or if you're making it for a friend, or if you're trying to sell it, I would make sure that something like this, that you have a set plan in mind as far as what you're trying to go for. Like if you want to sell these at Christmas for people and you want to have the dates and the calendars or whatever in there, that's fine. If you want to do something like this. So you know what I'm saying? Just think, my suggestion was to just kind of think about what you want as far as the notebook and what you want it to do for you or for the person that you're giving it to or selling it for or whatever. So as you can see there, I was putting the rings through the different things because I was kind of like, okay, what needs to go first? What needs to go here? Where do I want this to go? These little plastic things, they're little, I had to poke through to kind of, they were like punctured, but they weren't poked all the way through. Anyways, I just used my little weeding pen, and it was very easy. Just poke, once I got it kind of poked through, I was able to just pull it off, and I didn't have any like excess, strips of plastic or anything like that. So, but anyways, it kind of took me a minute to kind of organize it to say, okay, I want these to go first, and then also like how was I going to put this together as far as nothing was really cut, like the holes weren't punched all at the same. They were all 3 holes, 6 holes all together, but they just weren't lining up exactly, and they're really small. So it kind of took me a minute to kind of figure out, okay, I need to put all this together, and then I need to, put this on here. Then I can put the back side, then I put the, the front side. It just, like I said, it just kind of took me a minute to kind of figure out exactly how all of this was going to fit together because of these pieces being separated from the front and the back and the front, that kind of thing. So I ended up just I made sure, this was another thing too, was that little hinge piece on the back of the ring. I made sure that was in the back part of the binder because I didn't want it to be inside or in the front. I wanted it to just be back there. So I went ahead and did that. I did one piece, right? So I did one ring, and then I closed it up, and then it was like, okay, now that I have the one ring in place, now I can kind of like push them, get them straight, kind of. I had to make sure that it was like, you know, all in there perfectly, and it wasn't, you know, jostled around or anything. So then I was able to kind of maneuver the next 5 rings in there without any problem. So I was able to kind of wiggle them through because the holes were somewhat aligned at this point because I had already done that first hole. So anyways, it didn't take me very long to do it. It will not take me that long now that I know what I'm doing, and it won't take you that long now that I've done this and you know what to do. So, but in the beginning, at the very front, I was like, okay, where this goes here, this goes in the front, this goes here. Anyways, so I did all the hard work for you. So, but these I think would be really cool, very cheap. Not necessarily cheap, but the if you didn't want to buy all of the papers or just buy some papers or whatever, you could spend a lot of money. Like I bought this leather piece, like I said, this is for me, so I bought this like little leather thing so I could put a pen or whatever inside. This was like $15, so it was like, that's really not something that you could sell, but you could offer, you know, you could kind of put it off to the side, like this is something that you could buy as a side thing, or you would have to add a lot of money in order to make that appropriate as far as price wise. But if it was for you or if it's for a gift, you know, it's something that you could think about. So I was just making sure that all the rings were like, all of the pieces, I think that one top piece, the little hinge was kind of like stuck inside, and I had to maneuver it. And once I finally got everybody in order, then it was able to move a lot easier. And that's it. There she is. So cute. I love it. I love the colors. It's totally me. I like the size of it. I love just the personalization that you could do on this. You could definitely add a name, a saying, a logo, whatever. I will have everything listed below as far as the rings and all the paper and all the little set that I got that would, you know, make this a notebook. And then you can check out all the other options that they have. But please join my Facebook group, and if you do something like this and you are inspired, please tag me in any social media. I have them all. You know, just tag me there, and join my group, like, subscribe, ring the bell down below. You know, give me a comment. Let me know if this is something that you would be interested in receiving, or if it'd be something that you would definitely make for some of your family members that do like this or have an office or something like that. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.